Listen closely, because this moment is not random and you did not stumble here by accident. Something in your spirit was pulled almost magnetically to this very message. You felt it, a subtle tug, a shift in the atmosphere around you, a quiet stirring within your heart that whispered, "Pay attention." That whisper was not your imagination. It was a signal, a divine nudge, a spiritual confirmation that what you are about to hear is part of your destiny. There are seasons in your life when heaven chooses to interrupt your routine, pierce through the noise, and deliver a word that is meant only for those who are truly set apart. And right now, that moment belongs to you. Not to the world, not to the masses, not to the people who never listen, but to the one who has been walking through battles in silence, carrying burdens no one else has seen, and remaining faithful even when the rewards seemed far away. You've been wondering why the pressure around you has increased, why certain people drifted away, why familiar doors that once opened easily suddenly became heavy and unresponsive, why your spirit has felt both stretched and sharpened. You've sensed something shifting beneath the surface of your life, something invisible but undeniable, something you cannot fully explain, yet cannot ignore. And now the reason is being unveiled. Here is the truth. You are on the edge of elevation, a divine lifting, a sudden shift that will move you from where you have been to where you are destined to be. But elevation doesn't come quietly. It comes with signals, with stirrings, with spiritual signs that feel like discomfort, disruption, and divine rearrangement. And perhaps you've been feeling exactly that, waves of change you couldn't make sense of, changes that felt unsettling but strangely purposeful. This message is the confirmation you have been waiting for. There is a decree in the spiritual realm with your name on it, a command from heaven that has already been released. You are stepping into a moment where God is preparing to lift you higher, so suddenly, so unmistakably, so undeniably, that even those who overlooked you will have no choice but to witness what God has chosen to do in your life. But before the elevation comes the revelation. And before the revelation comes the invitation. The invitation to listen carefully, to open your spirit to receive every word that is about to unfold. Because this is not just encouragement. This is not just inspiration. This is a divine announcement. You're about to be lifted, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will stop what God is setting into motion. And as this truth settles into your spirit, feel the weight of what is happening right now, not just around you, but for you and through you. Because what you are sensing is more than encouragement. It is divine intention. There is a message being pressed into your heart, a confirmation being released from a higher realm, and it carries the unmistakable signature of God Himself. You've walked through enough in your life to know that human words alone cannot reach you the way this is reaching you. Something deeper is speaking. Something sacred. Something that feels alive, as if every sentence is finding a place inside your spirit that has been waiting, longing, yearning to be acknowledged. That is because this message is not coming from the natural world. It is coming from above, from the one who formed you, guided you, and has been watching over every step you've taken. For a long time, heaven has been preparing this moment. The timing, the alignment, the spiritual conditions, everything has been orchestrated to bring you right here, right now, so you can hear what God has been waiting to reveal. This isn't coincidence, it's divine convergence. A meeting between your spirit and God's intention. You may not realize it, but heaven has been observing your resilience. God has seen how you remained faithful when no one applauded. How you chose integrity when shortcuts were offered. How you held on to hope even when the nights felt unbearably long. And because of that faithfulness, because of that endurance, because of your willingness to grow through the things that tried to break you, your heaven is now responding. This is why the message feels different. It carries weight, authority, peace, strength. It feels like something you already knew but couldn't put into words, because God is speaking directly to your spirit, confirming what your heart quietly suspected. The elevation that is coming to you is not random. It is intentional. It has been prepared. It has been scheduled. It has been written into your destiny long before you knew how powerful your journey would become. And now the author of that destiny is turning the page. What you are hearing is God's reminder that you have been chosen for more than mere survival. You have been chosen for impact, for influence, for a level of purpose that cannot be contained in ordinary seasons. And before this elevation unfolds naturally, it must be acknowledged spiritually, because spiritual elevation always precedes physical elevation. This is why God is drawing near to you right now, reminding you of His presence. He wants you to know that He has not forgotten you, overlooked you, or ignored your prayers. He has been shaping you, refining you, strengthening you behind the scenes for a moment like this. A moment when everything shifts. A moment when what was once hidden becomes undeniable. Feel that truth settling into your bones. God is the source of this message. God is the one announcing your lifting. God is the one accelerating your steps. And God is the one who will finish what He has begun in you. You're not stepping into this season alone. You're stepping into it. Guided, covered, and chosen. Now that your spirit is aligned with what God is revealing, the veil can begin to lift. The message you've been sensing, sometimes faintly, sometimes intensely, isn't just intuition, emotion, or imagination. It is a prophetic shift unfolding in your life. A divine acceleration, a sudden lifting that will change the direction of your journey in a way you could never engineer on your own. For months, maybe even years, God has been positioning you in ways that felt confusing, uncomfortable, or even isolating. But those very moments, the silent seasons, the unexpected endings, the emotional stretching were not signs of abandonment. They were indicators that something big was being prepared. And now heaven is removing the final layer of mystery so you can understand what has truly been happening behind the scenes. The prophecy is this: God is lifting you. Suddenly, sharply, unmistakably, not gradually, not subtly, not quietly, but with a speed and clarity that leaves no room for doubt. This elevation is not merely an improvement in circumstances. It is a divine repositioning, a supernatural unfolding that shifts you from the background to the forefront, from hidden to seen, from waiting to walking into what was promised. This lifting will feel like the moment a dawn breaks after a long night. The darkness doesn't negotiate. It doesn't fade slowly. It retreats all at once. One moment the world is dim, and the next it is flooded with light. That is how God will elevate you suddenly, overwhelmingly, beyond anything you expected. And this shift will not happen because of luck, talent, or human approval. It will happen because God has declared it. When heaven issues a command concerning your life, nothing on earth can stop it. You may feel unprepared, but heaven says you're ready. You may feel unqualified, but God says you're chosen. You may feel overlooked, but the divine timeline says it's your turn. The elevation coming to you has layers, blessings that touch multiple areas of your life at once. You may experience a breakthrough in identity, a renewed clarity of who you are and what you carry, a breakthrough in purpose, doors opening that align perfectly with your calling, a breakthrough in relationships, divine connections forming while dead ones fall away, a breakthrough in provision resources appearing in ways that defy logic, a breakthrough in peace, the kind that settles the storms within you. And these breakthroughs won't drip in slowly. They will pour. But here is the part that makes this prophecy even more powerful. Your elevation will not be hidden. It will be witnessed. God has orchestrated this moment so that those who doubted your voice, questioned your path, or tried to diminish your value will see the undeniable evidence of God's hand on your life. This is not about revenge or proving anyone wrong. It's about testimony. When God elevates you publicly, it becomes a sign that cannot be dismissed. A sign that points back to Him. A sign that confirms His faithfulness, His timing, and His relentless commitment to your destiny. You will know this lifting is divine because it will carry a quality you could never manufacture. It will come without striving. It will align without forcing. It will flow without resistance. God elevates in ways that no human can replicate. When He opens a door, it stays open. When He lifts someone, no hand can pull them down. When He declares a new season, nothing can hold back what has been spoken. And perhaps the most intimate part of this prophecy is this. You have already felt the shift. Your spirit sensed the turning. Your heart recognized the change. Because before elevation manifests in the natural, it begins in the spiritual. And you've been feeling the spiritual tremors, the subtle inner knowing that something in your story is about to realign. This is the unveiling. Your season of being overlooked is ending. Your season of being hidden is closing. Your season of being lifted is beginning. Hold on to that truth. Let it anchor you. Let it prepare you. Because what comes next will not just change your circumstances, it will redefine your destiny. What you're walking into is bigger than a moment of blessing. It is the unfolding of a spiritual law that has been quietly shaping your life long before you ever recognized it. Elevation is not an accident. It is the natural result of a divine sequence, a heavenly pattern woven into your journey with precision, intention, and purpose. To understand what is happening to you now, you must look beyond circumstances and into the deeper spiritual architecture of your path. Because when God lifts you, He does it through seasons, signals, and spiritual shifts that prepare your soul long before your surroundings catch up. And everything you've endured, everything that has tested you, stretched you, and refined you, has served a profound, sacred purpose. Let's peel back the layers. First, you must understand this. Elevation always begins in obscurity. Before God raises someone, He hides them. Not as punishment, but as protection. Like a seed beneath the soil, you were covered for a reason. Hidden, not rejected. Buried, but not forgotten. The soil that pressed around you wasn't suffocating you. It was nurturing you. It was strengthening your roots for the weight of the destiny you were called to carry. There is a depth to you that could only have been formed in those silent seasons. When no one applauded, when no one noticed. When your heart carried prayers that felt unanswered, God was shaping endurance. He was forming spiritual maturity. He was developing discernment. You were being carved into someone who could handle elevation without losing purity, humility, or clarity. The spiritual meaning of this upcoming lifting is tied directly to this truth. You grew in secret so you could stand in the spotlight without collapsing under it. Second elevation requires separation. This is where many people misunderstand their journey. When God begins to lift you, He first removes you from environments that cannot sustain your calling. This is why relationships fell away, why certain friends faded, why some opportunities closed, why your spirit began rejecting people, places, and paths that once felt familiar. Separation wasn't loss, it was alignment. God was untangling you from what would have sabotaged your next level. You may not have understood it then, but heaven was creating a distinction around you. Not to isolate you permanently, but to elevate you properly. God does not lift someone who is still anchored to places of limitation. He had to free your spirit, detox your environment, and break attachments that were too small for your future. Third elevation comes through testing. Not the kind of testing that destroys you, but the kind that reveals you. Tests of patience, tests of loyalty, tests of character, tests of faith, When you prayed and the answer didn't come on your timeline. When you obeyed, yet nothing seemed to shift. When you held on to integrity, even when compromise seemed easier. These weren't punishments, they were divine calibrations. Your spirit was being strengthened for the responsibility attached to the lifting. God was proving you to yourself. Fourth spiritual elevation is connected to timing. God's timing, not yours. Not early, not late, always precise. Even when you felt delayed, you were actually being preserved. Had elevation come when you were emotionally fragile, spiritually unsure, or surrounded by the wrong people, it would have overwhelmed you instead of lifting you. God waited until the inner structure of your life was strong enough to carry what the next season requires. Fifth, every divine elevation has a purpose. And this is where the deepest spiritual meaning lies. You are not being lifted just for personal relief or private blessing. You are being elevated because your voice, your presence, your influence, your gift they carry answers for others. You are stepping into a level of purpose where your life becomes a signal to those who are lost, weary, broken, or searching. Your elevation is a message. Your breakthrough is a testimony. Your rising is a reminder that God still honors faith, still rewards perseverance, and still fulfills promises. Finally, elevation carries a transformational impact on identity. God doesn't lift you so you can stay who you were. He lifts you so you can become who you were meant to be. You will notice this shift in how you think, how you speak, how you pray, how you see yourself, how you see the world. Elevation rewires your sense of destiny. It awakens boldness. It births clarity. It strengthens discernment. It burns off doubt. It breaks the ceilings that once limited you. It unlocks a confidence rooted not in ego, but in divine assignment. You are not rising randomly. You are rising because heaven has declared it. You are rising because your spirit has matured into the fullness of who you are called to be. You are rising because your story carries weight in the spiritual realm. You are rising because God has marked you for influence that goes beyond your own life. This lifting is not just about what you will receive. It is about who you will become. And who you will become will change everything. As this elevation draws nearer, God doesn't leave you guessing. He doesn't lift you without warning, and He doesn't shift your destiny without giving your spirit clues that something is changing. Even if you didn't recognize them at first, you've already begun experiencing signs, subtle spiritual indicators, that the lifting has started in the unseen realm long before it manifests in the physical. These signs appear differently for everyone, but the patterns are unmistakable. And as you listen now, you may recognize that you've already encountered several of them. Sign number 1. A sudden restlessness in your spirit. You may have noticed a stirring inside you, an inner agitation that can't be explained logically. It's not fear. It's not anxiety. It's an inner knowing that where you are now can't contain who you are becoming. You feel a quiet but persistent urge to grow, to expand, to shift. You may look around at your life and think, I'm grateful. But something in me knows there's more. This restlessness is divine. It means your spirit is already rising before your circumstances do. Sign number 2. Old cycles no longer fit. Have you recently found yourself unable to tolerate things you used to accept, conversations that drain you, environments that feel too small, habits that no longer align with your spirit? The things that once felt normal now feel heavy, uncomfortable, even spiritually off. This is not moodiness, it's spiritual evolution. God is detaching you from your old level so you can rise into your new one. Sign number 3, unexpected endings. Relationships end. Opportunities fall through. Plans collapse. People withdraw. Doors close for no obvious reason. It hurts, but deep down you can sense the timing is too precise to be random. What looks like loss is actually alignment. God is clearing the space around you. He is removing what cannot go with you, so nothing hinders your elevation. Sign number 4. Unusual spiritual sensitivity. Recently, you may have felt more intuitive, more alert, more spiritually aware. You pick up things quickly, energies, motives, warnings, confirmations. You might feel more drawn to prayer reflection or solitude. This heightened sensitivity is a sign your spirit is tuning itself to heaven's frequency. Elevation requires spiritual clarity, and God has been sharpening yours. Sign number 5. New waves of opposition. Ironically, one of the strongest signs of coming elevation is increased warfare. You may have noticed tension rising unexpectedly, attacks on your peace distractions, people misunderstanding you, emotional swings, sudden discouragement, or old fears resurfacing. But look closely. The attacks are not happening because you're weak. They're happening because you're close. The enemy fights the hardest right before God changes your level. Sign number 6. Divine synchronicities. Little moments of alignment, perfect timing, right place, right time encounters, random blessings, words, signs, or messages appearing exactly when you needed them. These aren't coincidences, they're God's way of whispering, you're on the right path. And if even one of these signs has been happening in your life lately, it is confirmation. But if 2, 3, or more resonate with you, then hear this clearly. Your elevation isn't just coming, it has already begun. These signs are heaven's fingerprints on your journey. They are the spiritual evidence that God is rearranging your steps, positioning your future, and preparing the moment your story turns. Take heart. The signs have been pointing to this all along. Before elevation becomes visible, there is always a stretch, a series of hidden challenges that appear not to break you, but to build you into the person who can stand on the level God is lifting you to. These challenges do not always look spiritual at first. They often appear as inconveniences, delays, emotional heaviness, or unexpected obstacles. But beneath the surface, each one carries divine purpose. If you've been feeling pressure lately, this is why. Challenge number 1, the weight of waiting. You may feel like you've been standing at the edge of breakthrough longer than you expected. You sense the shift you feel, the promise, yet the manifestation seems just a step beyond your reach. This waiting can feel exhausting, even discouraging. But remember this, waiting refines your alignment. It purifies your motives. It strengthens your faith muscles. God isn't withholding, He's preparing. The closer you get to elevation, the more critical your spiritual posture becomes. Challenge number 2, the silence of heaven. Before a major lifting, God often becomes quiet, painfully quiet. Prayers feel unanswered, signs feel distant, and you may wonder if something is wrong. But this silence is not abandonment. It is God's way of deepening your trust. In silence, you learn to follow His presence without needing constant reassurance. In silence, you develop spiritual stamina. Elevation requires inner confidence, not external noise. Challenge number 3, emotional friction. There can be days when your emotions feel unpredictable, moments of sudden sadness, irritation, or sensitivity you can't fully explain. Sometimes it feels like you're shedding layers of your old self. That's exactly what's happening. Elevation requires emotional release. Old wounds surface so they can be healed. Old fears rise so they can be broken. Old identities crumble so the new one can emerge. This friction is transformation in progress. Challenge number 4, increased isolation. You may notice that people are drifting away, even people you care about. Or perhaps you're losing interest in certain friendships, conversations, or circles. At first it feels painful, but look deeper. God is clearing your environment. Elevation requires atmosphere purified, protected, and aligned. You're not being abandoned, you're being repositioned. Challenge number 5, spiritual resistance. Right before elevation, the enemy often attempts one final push through fear, confusion, distraction, or discouragement. You may feel old insecurities resurfacing or sudden doubt clouding your mind. This resistance is not a sign to retreat. It's a sign that you're crossing the threshold. The enemy doesn't fight those going nowhere. He only attacks those who are rising. Challenge number 6, the test of consistency. Sometimes the hardest challenge is staying faithful when you see no progress. Continuing to believe, continuing to build, continuing to show up. Your consistency is a declaration to heaven. I trust you even when I can't see the outcome. That declaration carries power. These challenges are not punishments, they are gateways. They are the final shaping before the unveiling. They are the evidence that elevation is near, not far. And if you have been feeling any of these pressures, understand this clearly. You are not failing. You are transitioning. The stretching is proof that your story is shifting. The resistance is proof that your level is changing. The discomfort is proof that God is lifting you. Hold steady. You're closer than you think. Now that you understand the signs, the meaning, and the challenges that surround this elevation, it's time to receive the instructions, the spiritual actions God is calling you to take as He lifts you. Elevation is a divine partnership. God initiates it, but you align with it. He opens the doors, but you must walk through them. He prepares the path, but you must be willing to step forward. These instructions are not burdens, they are spiritual strategies. They are the keys that activate momentum, clarity, and divine protection as you rise. Listen closely because each instruction carries weight. Instruction number 1. Release what God has already removed. Holding on to what God has taken away is one of the fastest ways to slow your ascent. Whether it's a relationship, an environment, a mindset, or an old identity, if it has been removed, it was removed on purpose. Stop trying to resurrect what God buried. Stop trying to revisit what God has closed. Stop trying to understand what was not meant to remain. Your elevation requires space. Your future cannot grow in the shadow of what no longer belongs to your story. This is not about bitterness or pride. It's about alignment. Let go without resentment. Release without fear. Trust that what God subtracts, He always replaces with something higher. Instruction number 2, strengthen your spiritual routine. Elevation increases responsibility, visibility, and spiritual weight. To handle the level you're rising into, your spirit must stay fed. That means returning to practices that keep you anchored. Prayer, reflection, quiet time, fasting, journaling, scripture, or whatever deepens your connection with God. This is not about religious performance. It's about spiritual oxygen. What you're stepping into requires clarity, discernment, and strength. Your routine won't just sustain you, it will shape you into the person your next season demands. Instruction number 3, move. When God says move, there will be moments in this next season when God nudges you to take a step. Create something, apply for something, speak something, leave something, or embrace something new. When that moment comes, do not hesitate. Delayed obedience can delay elevation. The timing of your action matters. You may not feel ready. You may not have all the answers. You may not see the whole path. But when God opens a door, the only requirement is that you walk through it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement in the presence of purpose. Instruction number 4. Protect your energy and environment. Not everyone can handle the version of you God is revealing. This means being intentional about who you allow access to your mind, heart, and space. Some conversations will drain you. Some people will distract you. Some environments will sabotage you. Elevation requires pruning not out of judgment, but out of necessity. Protect your peace. Protect your focus. Protect the atmosphere you cultivate. Your next level needs a purified space. Instruction number 5. Embrace humility as you rise. God lifts the humble. God exalts the surrendered. God elevates the grounded. This is not the season to prove yourself. This is not the season to boast or justify your calling to anyone. Your elevation is God's testimony, not your trophy. Carry yourself with grace. Let humility be your fragrance. Let kindness be your posture. Let gratitude be your language. Because humility not only honors God, it protects your elevation. Instruction number 6. Align your identity with your calling. How you see yourself determines how far you can rise. You cannot step into a divine elevation while clinging to old insecurities, outdated self-images, or limited thinking. God is not lifting an old version of you, He's lifting the transformed one. Begin speaking like the person you are becoming. Begin acting like the person you are destined to be. Your identity must rise before your environment does. Instruction number 7. Expect the elevation. Expectation is not arrogance, it is agreement. It is you saying to God, I believe you. I receive what you have prepared. Expect open doors. Expect clarity. Expect opportunities. Expect spiritual acceleration. Faith does not wait for evidence. It acts on revelation. Your expectation creates space for God to move. These instructions are your preparation, your alignment, your spiritual readiness. Follow them not out of fear, but out of confidence, because God is not lifting you to drop you. He is lifting you to establish you. As you rise into this new season, understand something deeply. God is not elevating you without surrounding you. Every step upward comes with divine protection, spiritual reinforcement, and heavenly covering. You are not stepping into this change vulnerable or exposed. You are stepping into it, backed by the full authority of the one who called you. Elevation brings visibility. Visibility brings attention. But God brings protection. And His protection is not fragile. It is not symbolic. It is not metaphorical. It is real, active, and unshakable. You are being surrounded on all sides. In this season, you may feel moments of uncertainty. Moments where the shift feels overwhelming or the future feels unfamiliar. But hear this clearly, you are not walking alone. God has positioned angels around you, strengthening your steps and shielding your spirit. Before any opposition can reach you, it must pass through a divine barrier. Before any attack can form, it must face the one who defends you. Before any plan against you can take shape, it collapses under the weight of God's presence. You are covered in ways you cannot always see, but you will feel the effects. Moments where danger passes without explanation. Moments where negativity cannot cling to you. Moments where things meant to wound you lose their power. This isn't luck, this is protection. God guards what He elevates. When God lifts you, He guards you. When God promotes you, He shields you. When God advances you, He fortifies you. You are stepping into a place where the favor on your life will increase. but so will the need for spiritual protection. That is why God is already surrounding your mind, your heart, your purpose, and your path. He is guarding your name from slander. He is guarding your spirit from confusion. He is guarding your progress from sabotage. He is guarding your elevation from anything that would attempt to interfere. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to defend yourself against every voice. You don't have to explain your journey to anyone. God Himself is your defense. Peace will be your companion. Elevation does not only bring blessings, it brings peace. Not the temporary peace the world offers, but the steady, grounding, supernatural peace that comes from being held by God. This peace will settle your anxiety. This peace will silence your doubts. This peace will anchor you when your surroundings shift. This peace will remind you that even when you can't see the whole plan, you can trust the one who designed it. It is the kind of peace that whispers, "You're safe. You're guided. You're protected." You are not going into this season naked. You're going armored before you step into greater influence. God is strengthening your spiritual armor. Your discernment will sharpen. Your intuition will heighten. Your boundaries will become clearer. Your spirit will grow more resilient. God is not just elevating your life, He is elevating your protection. He is ensuring that nothing formed against you can prosper, and nothing designed to intimidate you can remain. You're covered, you're chosen, and carried. Let this settle deeply into your spirit. You are not rising alone. You are rising held. You are rising guarded. You are rising with the full might of heaven behind you. Your elevation is not fragile. It is fortified. It is protected. It is sealed. As you step into this season of elevation, something profound begins to unfold. Something far deeper than a change in circumstances. Elevation is not merely an event. It is a transformation, a renewal of identity, a shift in spiritual posture, a reawakening of the version of you that God intended from the beginning. And this transformation doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds like dawn breaking across the horizon, slow at first, then suddenly bright, radiant, undeniable. You will begin to notice this change within yourself long before the world notices it around you. A transformation in your mind. The first place you will feel the shift is in your thoughts. Your mind will begin to outgrow old limitations. Ideas will flow more clearly. Confidence will rise within you, not arrogance, but assurance. You will begin to think higher, dream bigger, and see further than you ever have before. Fear will lose its grip. Doubt will lose its voice. Your inner dialogue will shift from, "Can I?" to, "I was made for this." That is the mind awakening to destiny. A transformation in your spirit. Your spirit will feel lighter, clearer, more anchored. Your connection to God will deepen. Your discernment will sharpen. You'll begin recognizing divine nudges, inner confirmations, and spiritual signals more quickly than before. You may feel a newfound hunger to pray, to reflect, to grow in silence. Not out of obligation, but out of alignment. Your spirit will begin to crave what strengthens you and reject what weakens you. This is elevation at the soul level. A transformation in your behavior. As God lifts you, you will find yourself acting differently. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your identity is evolving. You'll start walking with more intention. You'll speak with greater clarity. You'll move with more purpose. You'll make decisions with more confidence. The hesitation that once held you back will dissolve. The fears that once paralyzed you will fade. And a quiet, steady strength will become part of who you are. This is behavior aligned with destiny. A transformation in your environment elevation changes your internal world first, but eventually the external world follows. Doors will begin to open. Opportunities will begin to appear. Connections will align divinely, naturally, effortlessly. You may find yourself stepping into rooms you once thought were beyond your reach. You may encounter people who recognize your value immediately. You may be presented with choices that reflect the new level God is calling you to. What once felt distant will now move toward you. What once felt impossible will now feel natural. This is your environment bending toward your calling. Chatsur. A transformation in your impact. Elevation isn't just about being lifted. It's about becoming effective. Your words will carry more weight. Your presence will shift atmospheres. Your decisions will influence more lives. Your story will inspire people you've never met. People will begin to notice your peace, your strength, your clarity, your resilience. They won't just see the elevation, they'll feel it. Your life will become evidence of God's faithfulness. Your rise will become a message of hope to those who feel forgotten. You will step into a version of yourself that feels both new and deeply familiar, like someone you've always been, but never had the chance to express fully. This is fulfillment. This is purpose unfolding. This is destiny awakening. Your transformation is the fulfillment of what was promised, everything you've walked through. Every delay, every heartbreak, every closed door was not a setback. It was preparation. It was shaping. It was strengthening. And now what was once painful is becoming purposeful. What was once confusing is becoming clear. What was once heavy is becoming holy. You are not stepping into a random elevation. You are stepping into the fulfillment of a promise that was spoken over your life long before you understood how powerful it was. Your transformation is the evidence. Your elevation is the manifestation. And your fulfillment is the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with clarity, confidence, purpose, and divine momentum. Take a moment. Breathe. Let everything you've heard settle into the deepest place inside you. Your spirit knows this message is true. Your heart recognizes it. Your soul agrees with it. You are stepping into a season unlike any you've lived before. And as you rise, you need words, short, powerful affirmations that anchor your faith and align your mindset with what God has declared. Speak these boldly. Speak them often. Speak them until they become part of your identity. Affirmation 1. I am being lifted by God's hand, and nothing can stop my rise. Say it until it feels natural. Say it until doubt loses its voice. You are not rising by accident. You are rising by divine intention. Affirmation 2. I am aligned, protected, and prepared for my next level. Where you are going requires spiritual posture and inner readiness. This affirmation reminds your spirit that you are not stepping forward alone, you are stepping forward covered. Affirmation 3. I embrace who I am becoming, and I release who I used to be. Elevation demands identity. Let this affirmation guide your transformation. You cannot cling to the old and step into the new at the same time. You are evolving. Honor that evolution. Affirmation 4. I walk in divine timing, divine clarity, and divine purpose. Nothing is late, nothing is wasted, Nothing is random. Your steps are ordered, your path is guided, and your timing is aligned with heaven. Let these affirmations become more than words. Let them become your spiritual armor. Repeat them when you wake up. Repeat them when you feel uncertain. Repeat them when fear tries to whisper. Repeat them when you step into new spaces. They are not just statements. They are declarations of destiny. A final blessing over your elevation. As you step into this new season, may the hand of God rest heavily upon your life. May every step you take be guided with supernatural clarity. May every door meant for you open without resistance. May every burden you've carried be lifted from your shoulders. May peace follow you, surround you, and strengthen you. May divine protection cover your home, your mind, your heart, and your purpose. I speak blessing over your identity, that you will see yourself the way heaven sees you. I speak blessing over your path, that no detour, distraction, or delay will keep you from your destiny. I speak blessing over your spirit, that courage, faith, and boldness will rise within you like never before. May you walk into your elevation with confidence. May you move with grace. May you rise with strength. May you stand firm in the truth that God is lifting you, not gradually, not someday, but now, in this season with unmistakable clarity. Your story is turning. Your level is rising. Your destiny is unfolding. And you are being lifted. Go forward in peace, in purpose, and in power. Your elevation has begun.